Joining us now is State Superintendent Mark Johnson. Mark, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Now, I know you're excited. We're just a few weeks away of the start of school, and it's an exciting time, especially for K-3 teachers because they're receiving iPads. Can you talk a little bit about how they're intended to help educators in the classroom?
Yes, we're very excited about this. At the Department of Public Instruction, there's a program called Read to Achieve. It has bipartisan support because it is focused on making sure that our youngest students can read on grade level by the end of third grade. That is a vital goal because students will switch from learning how to read in those early years to reading themselves to learn after the third grade. And if students don't hit that goal, they're usually just trying to catch up for the rest of school, all their years in school. So we are very focused on K-3 literacy. We found some money in 2016 that was supposed to go to classrooms, but unfortunately didn't make it. And when I took office in 2017, we worked with the General Assembly to say, let us use this money, carry it a year forward, let us get into the classrooms where it belongs. And we worked with our K-3 literacy experts at the State Department saying, what can really make a huge impact for teachers and students? And it was a resounding iPads. Some teachers already had multiple iPads in the classroom. Some teachers might have just had one. But the iPad is a tool that now with another one in the classroom, they can use the older iPads for progress monitoring for students without the students not even knowing that they are being monitored for how well they're reading. It is just, they can go through the content with ease, and the results will all be calculated. The whole goal of all of this is to make sure we are reducing the amount of time that teachers and students have to spend testing. We are testing and assessing too much. It is important to have this information, but students and teachers feel like they are losing valuable instructional time due to testing. So we are going to be rolling out new guidelines from our State Department that reduce the amount of time teachers in kindergarten through third grade have to test. But also with this new iPad, we'll be having new applications come through, updates to existing applications as well, that will allow students to progress through reading and content on their own and be able to use that data without having to take assessments and tests. We're very excited.
Okay, now you just mentioned about introducing new guidelines to reduce that testing. Can you elaborate more on that?
Yes, so specifically with the K through 3 progress monitoring for reading, we are reducing the frequency with how often teachers need to pull a student aside and have one-on-one time with the technology to assess the student. Because when that happens, that one-on-one time with the teacher and the student is very valuable, but other students might feel like the class has been shut down for that period of time, and they might be losing out on valuable instruction. We are scaling that back so that the teachers, at their option, can actually use that time instead to instruct students and then also more infrequently be able to progress monitor students, giving them more time back to do what they want to do, which is teach.
Okay, now am I correct that there's some districts that actually won't be receiving iPads? If so, what type of devices are they receiving?
Very good question. There are a handful of districts that do not support Apple products. We worked with those districts in order to get them the devices they do support. One good example is the Chromebook tablet. Teachers in some districts use that instead of an iPad. Every teacher this school year will be receiving a brand new device for their classroom if they are a K through 3 reading teacher using this funding focused on supporting early childhood literacy.
Okay, well, in addition to the Chromebooks and the iPads, also K through teachers are receiving some money to buy literacy materials. How much are they receiving?
Well, again, from this money that we found was not making it to classrooms, last March we sent out to school districts $200 per K through 3 reading teacher so they could buy literacy materials and supplies. They were able to choose what they wanted as long as it could encourage literacy. Many bought new sets of books. They bought reading guides, reading materials, parental engagements to really engage the parents in that quest to reach that goal. And also this school year, along with those new iPads, we are in addition sending a brand new set of books to every K-3 reading teacher that go with these applications on the iPad. Again, all around supporting our youngest learners, making sure that they are reading on grade level by the third grade.
In talking about young learners, earlier we heard you mention that you had a daughter that was starting school, and I can imagine as a state superintendent as well as a parent, school safety is on the forefront of many parents' minds this new year. Have there been any upgrades made across North Carolina to help secure students?
Yes, absolutely, and thank you for mentioning that. This is my job, and it is a privilege and an honor to serve the teachers and students and families and taxpayers of the state of North Carolina. But this is also very personal for me because I have a daughter starting kindergarten this fall. And when I drop her off every day at school, I, like every other parent, have the hope and expectation that she will be safe, her teachers will be safe, and their classmates will be safe. We worked with the General Assembly over the last summer to get more funding for school safety. The first thing we did is award grants to get school resource officers in schools across the state that need them the most. Those are trained law enforcement officers who work with the school, in the school, build great relationships with the communities, and are also there in case the worst happens to prevent a tragedy. In addition, though, we all know how important mental health support is going to be in stopping one student's issues from becoming a school tragedy. So we are also funding more mental health support with an eye towards what are some of the most innovative practices that are out there. We know that there's the need. We need to find out where some of the most innovative, groundbreaking strategies are to get more mental health support in our schools and connect that mental health support to other officials to, again, make sure that one student's issues don't turn into a school tragedy. We're very excited about getting that money out to schools, and when we do, we're going to monitor what's working best, come back to the General Assembly when they're back in town and ask for more money to scale that across the state so that we know that we're doing everything we can to make every school as safe as we can make it.
Now, in addition to talking about school safety and iPads, can you give your thoughts on the teacher working condition survey that took place earlier this year?
Yes, I am very happy to report that we actually this year broke our own record for completion of the teacher working condition survey. It was a top priority of mine to hear from as many teachers as possible because we need to hear from teachers on what they are dealing with in the classroom in order to be able to help them. And it's very different classroom from the mountains over to the coast. We have over 100,000 teachers in this state, and they are all unique individuals. We need to be able to hear from all of them, and luckily technology lets us do that now. One of the main things that caught my eye in the teacher working condition survey, and something I experienced when I myself was a teacher, was the struggle and the anger around how classrooms are feeling more and more uncontrollable. Student behavior is going in the wrong direction for teachers, and they feel more and more like they are losing control of their classrooms. Now, this is not for every teacher, obviously. I struggled with this, and I improved as I grew as a teacher. But there is the concern that students can misbehave, but then don't have consequences that then stop that misbehavior. This is something we're looking very closely at the State Education Agency. We want to make sure that we have the proper policies and guidance in place for our schools and teachers that strike that fine balance of not expelling or suspending students because they can't learn if they're at home. We want to make sure we're not doing that too aggressively. But we also need to give some power back to the teacher and the administrator to make sure that they feel comfortable in their classroom environment. And also, if they're comfortable and have a good classroom environment, that's when the learning occurs. All these distractions and students acting out, that interrupts with instruction time, which we know is already taken up by other things. It's all about giving that instruction time and that level of control back to the teacher.
State Superintendent Johnson, quickly, one more question. How bummed are you that you won't be running the Krispy Kreme challenge? I know you issued that sweet challenge to all the educators.
Yes, thank you. You were following it. I really wanted us to shatter the record through the roof. 95% was our goal, and I told teachers, there's this crazy race in Raleigh where you have to run 2.5 miles, eat 12 Krispy Kreme donuts, and run 2.5 miles back. I told teachers that if we reached 95% completion, that I would do the Krispy Kreme challenge. I would run, eat those donuts, and run back, because that's how much I wanted to hear from them. It was a silly motivator, but it did the job. We broke our own record, and we raked in 92%, and I have to say, I'm actually very happy with that, because we didn't reach 95%, so I don't have to run the race. But I told teachers, I still will. I will run in the Krispy Kreme challenge. Just no guarantee on 12 donuts. Maybe 1 or 2, but I will be running in the race, just not 12 dozen donuts.
Okay.
12 donuts.
We'll be rooting for you. State Superintendent Mark Johnson, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.